We're live! Oh my God, I'm going to take that down. All right, guys, welcome to the Live Reality Games Facebook, Reality Games YouTube, and we are so excited to be here today, recapping Sequester, as always, but especially this time because we have Season 2 winner of the Sequester live game, Kim Mattina.
Thank you. Woo!
And there's
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here with you guys. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Luke.
Yes, yeah, I'm super excited to have you on. You're definitely like one of my favorite Sequester players. It's fun to have a winner join us on the podcast, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, ever since we jumped into the cast assessment, like way at the beginning, we're like, oh my gosh, we should have Kim join us sometime.
Oh my God. Well, it's been such a fun season to watch, so I'm super excited to be here with you guys and talk about this episode and what's led up to it, and maybe some predictions on what's going to happen next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So speaking of what's led up to this episode, do you have any thoughts about any of our fallen Sequester players so far? Anybody that you haven't been able to talk about on a recap yet or tweet about yet? Like, what do you think about people that we have said goodbye to? Marcelo last week with his pedicure. What are your thoughts on who we've lost so far?
Such good toenails. And I keep wondering if he had to go back in the house to get his flip-flops so that he could survive in the jury. But I was not disappointed in Marcelo's play, but having seen him play in minis, and I know how passionate he can be about the game, and I didn't see that passion in Sequester Live. I don't know if he was nervous about it or what it was, but he just didn't seem to have that drive and that passion that really it takes to win. Mm-hmm. You know, you look at Nick in Black Hat was very passionate to get the win. There was nothing I wasn't doing to get the win. Mm-hmm. And I was a good talker, so I was able to get there. In season 3, Hunter was very passionate to get that win. And I didn't see it in Marcelo, and it was such contrast to what I'm used to seeing from him. So I haven't had a chance to talk about Marcelo yet, and I haven't messaged with most of them.
Well, you know what I want to say real quick is that if you're a Sequester Patreon member, Audrey just did a podcast where she talks about casting for season 5.
Yes.
And she said that her big thing is that she wants people who want to play to win. And that's what she wants. And we know that's not exactly what Big Brother is asking for. But Audrey, she wants people who are wanting to win. Like, sure, Marcelo wanted to win, but I think even in his exit interview with Taryn, you could tell that he just got lost in himself at the end there.
And I think he did, which really surprised me because, like I said, online, he showed so much passion every game, and that was the word I used about him. And I didn't get to see that in the live game, unfortunately. I haven't had a chance to talk about Brendan yet either. And I know Brendan in person because he lives like 20 miles that way. And Brendan's such an awesome guy, and he definitely was passionate about winning. And he had a lot of strategy. He's a very strategic player. And I think because, people always want to keep the big names in to keep the target off of themselves, which he was doing. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think it reached the point where the big targets played him. And he didn't quite see that one coming with Jacob pulling him in. And I absolutely love Brendan. He's a great kid. I can't wait for
Brendan fan too.
I'm waiting for him to turn 21. I said, we'll go to Vegas. Him and his brother, get Katie to meet us there. There's a bunch of people that are ready for Vegas. So
that'd be a crazy group.
Well, actually, our birthday is on Monday because me and him have the same birthday.
You two have the same birthday?
Yeah, we found out last year. We were like, oh my gosh, birthday twins, but I am much older. So
February 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, happy birthday a week
Thank you.
early.
Thank you so
Early.
much. I'll meet
That's
you in
awesome.
Vegas. We'll
Come on to Vegas. Meet up with the rest of us. We're all going to go. We're just waiting for this pandemic to run its course so that we can get out and be safe and all that good stuff.
Yes.
My birthday was just last month, so
Yes.
just over a month ago. I just turned 60, so now I feel like I'm old enough to officially apply for Big Brother again to be the token old person. 59 just doesn't sound as old as 60, so
it's true.
It is what it is, and I'm old enough I'm vaccinated, so I got my first round. I'm excited.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that has gone that we should talk about? Or
I mean, I was one of my favorite people this season to watch was Shireen. Did you have any thoughts on Shireen, Kim? Are you a fan of her gameplay?
You know what? I was much more a fan of her gameplay. I think she was taken out too early. I thought that was a mistake to pull her out. If you're looking to split up pairs, pick her or Rachel. But I think from a game player perspective, you want Shireen on your side. And I think there was an opportunity for that she missed out on when Spencer decided to drag her anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think he missed a huge opportunity because, he formed those bonds with Muna when she came back in, and Muna and Shireen were already in cahoots with each other, that Spencer could have found himself in a very comfortable position much earlier. I think Shireen, she played a really solid game, and it was the circumstances of Sequester that got her out that early.
Yeah, I think that she played phenomenally. It's really hard, like when there's two drags, and like there was really nobody. Like Spencer kept changing his mind about who he wanted to drag. Like Jacob was giving him advice, talking in his ear. So who knows? Maybe without Jacob's talking in his ear, he might have picked someone like Marcelo instead, and that would have kept in Shireen a little bit longer.
Yeah, he didn't have any relationship with Marcelo.
Right.
He could have very easily gone, and I think the biggest mistake that I see people make is they want to drag people that, they worry more about people that are coming after them as opposed to people they want to go after. And I see a lot of that in the games. And it's like, I don't care if you're coming after me, with the exception of Hamza when I played. It's like, and even then I still tried until he pulled up some bullshit alliance that wasn't going to exist anyway. But for the most part, the game is so fluid and changes so fast, and you can be on the outs 1 minute and in on the next. I mean, we just saw it. We're seeing it with Spencer. We saw it with Muna.
Josh, episode 1.
Josh, first out and still in.
Yeah.
So it's so fluid that I think in Sequester you have to worry more about who you want to go after as opposed to who's coming after you.
Mm-hmm. I wanted
to lie.
Yeah.
People lie in there. So even if they tell you, I'm never going to vote for you, they're lying. They are lying through their teeth. That's all there is to it.
I was going to ask you about Jacob and Muna because you played Sequester Winners at War with both of them.
I did.
Have you played with anybody else, or is it mostly them that you've played these mini games with?
I mean, there were a few others that I played with during the season, but Jacob and Muna, we were all in Winners at War.
Yeah.
And Muna and I connected pre-game. We connected. I mean, like I was talking to her, she's like, "Oh, I'm just getting back from a run. Give me a second." And, really got to learn about her as a person. And I really felt like we had a good opportunity to play with each other. Jacob and I, we had a Winners at War chat that was everybody. And I did talk to Jacob some, but not a whole lot. Definitely, he was very cordial. I knew that he and Josh, I could just see that the way he and Josh, who is Billy's brother, you could just see in the chat where there was a connection there. So I felt with Jacob, I was not ever going to be on the ends with them, with he and Josh. But I really felt like Muna and I had something. And even after the fact, Muna was like, Kim, I was ready to be loyal to you. I'm so sorry. I got chained out on it. I got dropped off at the end of the chain. And it's like, because there were like 4 people that thought someone else is going to pick Kim. And Muna was one of them. Puya was one of them. And then Alex was one. No, Alex was already off the chain there.
Off the chain.
I can't remember, but there were 4 people that were all like, I'm so sorry. I thought someone else was picking you. And then it came down to me and Dash at the end, and Cam Olsen from season 3 kept Dash and dropped me. And I was like,
dropping a live game player like that. Ooh.
And I was like, oh, Cam. You know, it was kind of surprising.
Even All-Stars, Cam.
Yeah, and I would have had Cam I wouldn't have had Cam till the end.
Yeah.
But I would have had Cam deep into it, into this jury. So, and I keep telling Puya, the biggest mistake he made was not saving me on the chain, because Puya was my number 1.
Oh,
we talked every night. Puya knew everything I knew, right? It comes down to the end. He loses by 1 vote. If I was on jury, he would have won.
Kim.
It's like, sorry, Puya.
Don't you love rubbing that in someone's face? Like, if you would have picked me,
Yeah.
you would have won. Well, okay, so now that you know Muna really well, and Jacob, you know, cordially, as you said, have they been living? How did you expect for them to play, and how are they playing? Do they like? Are they like? Is anything surprising you about them, or is this kind of like? Yeah,
both of them. Yeah, Muna, because Muna. And me getting to know her, she is, first of all, she's one of the kindest people that I've met. She truly, truly has a good heart and is very strong, and she knows what she wants. She's so well spoken. You know, as a poet, she is doing live readings and things like that. But her kindness is the big thing. And Muna, me getting to know her, Muna was a very humble person from her upbringing and the situations that were going on in Minneapolis at the time when we played Winners at War and things like that, and was super humble. So watching her in this game, I was a little bit taken aback because I didn't see that humbleness or that humility in there that I know Muna to be. And I don't know if it's because she got wrapped up in the game or what it was, but she is, gosh, she is a gem. And I think that Muna would still be in the game if Muna had shown a little bit more humility in there. And this is firsthand experience. I played Sequester 1.0, the very first Sequester game online, period, 5 years ago. And I came in 2nd place. I ran that game from start to finish. I won every they could only vote me out twice.
Wow.
And I flipped it on both of them. So my own alliance was ready to vote me out. And it's like, no, you don't want to do that. We get to the finale, and I literally said, this is my game to win. There was no part of this game that I lacked. I was social with everybody. I had strategy going. I was a comp beast through the whole thing. And the jury gave it to Donovan over me because they said I wasn't humble and I wasn't giving credit where credit was due.
That's what it is.
And so I think that a little bit of that may have bit Muna. And I don't know if it's because she got caught up in it, or I have to think it's because she got caught up in the emotions of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And the reasons why she was playing. But So I think that hurt her ultimately, and she would probably still be in if she had been a little more humble. Jacob Jones, on the other hand, the most humble and kind and sincere person in Winners at War, and me getting to know him on Twitter. And he is the biggest, most cutthroat villain I have seen in any reality show. I'm talking Big Brother, I'm talking Survivor, Date Night. Oh my God, that was the most brutal slaying I have ever seen in a reality show. And that is not the Jacob I know. So both of them were contrary to what I know him as. But I'll tell you right now, if I played a game with Jacob right now, forget it. Forget it. No, he's got no loyalty to no one in this game.
Right. I think Jacob's going to have a hard time playing games after this, after seeing what he did to Moon. People are going to be like, you can't trust this dude.
Jacob needs a timeout before he plays another game.
He had a good run. He had a good run,
and he's hitting that peak right now.
I mean, he's still having a good run. He could be a 3-time Sequester winner, which, I mean,
oh my God.
You're a 2-time Sequester winner. Like, you have won a mini and a live game. So that'd be crazy if Jacob managed to top that.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'm not gonna lie, it's playing into who I'm rooting for to win. If Jacob wins, then I'm no longer the only one to win live and win a mini.
However, I will say, I think it's more impressive that you won a live game first and then played minis, because the live games are more public, more people know about it. So they already knew you were a huge threat coming into the minis.
Yeah, unfortunately they did. I still can't believe I won. But when I won to get into Winners at War, so I mean, I not rooting for Jacob. It'd be kind of fun to see a villain, but I don't want somebody who won live and won a mini.
Coming for your crown.
Yeah, coming for my crown. But it's also the same reason why I'm rooting for Billy. Billy was my preseason pick. Okay. So I'm rooting for Billy. I've really appreciated Natalie. But I don't want either one of them to win, because if Spencer or Josh wins, then I'm the only female winner.
Right. I'm agree with that.
And I'm the only two different platform winners.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We'll definitely have to get in who we're predicting to win and all that. Yeah. I hope that Josh is still watching, right, Luke? Because I want to bring up something I was talking with Luke about earlier. So we were talking about the schedule of what day it is. I was like, what day is the game right now? So they got their Thursday. Friday, they didn't have any rounds.
Right.
Round one is on. So it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I think we're on Wednesday right now. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, day 7. Is that crazy?
No, this should be probably day 5.
Okay. But if you look at this picture of Josh, you think it's like day 84. Man, Josh, this man has seen things. Like,
that's really bad, Josh.
a gif of it's been 84 years. Oh my gosh! So just
on 84 years.
It has been a long time. So we're on Wednesday. The finale is the next day, and before we jump into the episode, I did want to mention something about this final 6. About this is your last time to play an LOS. So, all over Twitter before this episode, we're predicting who's going to do what. And I have to bring up my Sequester mini when I played.
Okay.
And I won an LOS. I forget what round, maybe round 10 or something. And the final 6 comes along, and I message, hey, Josh, I hope you like that. I message Audrey on Skype, and I go, when's the last time you could play an LOS? And she goes, right now. And I was like, look at me. I had no idea. So you know what I did that round? I had a bowl of popcorn with me, and were all fighting over who, because I know I'm going to play it on me. I don't even care. So I just sat back, and I just ate popcorn, while Nicole, love you, Nicole, she's just like, everybody needs to vote for Hannah right now. Everybody needs to vote for Hannah. And I'm like,
Okay.
So, so I love a Final Six. I love an LOS play. I was looking forward to that. So, we see Jacob go to Luxury Row. Did you guys fall for his bluff when he said that he got something in there?
No. Not at all, because he picked number 2. And that's the same one Muna picked.
Oh, you think they kept it in? Oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, they should have been comparing notes of no.
Yeah, they keep them in the same order, or I'm assuming they do, because they did for the first set of them that went. That's why they kept getting nothing until Jacob got the special bonus, the special bonus prize, not the LOS, but the battle match pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they kept them in the same order for the first set. I would assume they would, because if you went back more than once, you're not going to pick the same number twice in a row.
Good catch.
Right.
So,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And Muna picked number 2. And then when Jacob did, I was like, yeah, he didn't get anything. Muna already opened that one. So no, I didn't fall for it. It was a good try, though.
Yeah. So Jacob is back. Muna says that she doesn't want to play with him anymore.
Oh.
That was pretty, you gotta be open, right?
I mean, she let him know, I don't want to play with you anymore. I mean, it doesn't get any more direct than that. I don't know. I mean, what did you think of that, Luke? I didn't think that was a great move for her to do.
For her to tell Jacob she didn't want to play with him anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
You don't know bridges.
Yeah, well, they did have a little moment later in the episode where she was trying to say, like, let's not drag each other into the battle match if we get voted, because she knows that she's not going to be voted because she has an LOS. So she did make somewhat of an effort. But yeah, I mean, the winner of the battle match has such a huge impact this late in the game, because you saw kind of confessionals from people who were really invested in the outcome. So you saw Natalie saying, I need Jacob back. Jacob's one of the few people who wants to take me to the end. Like, I trust him a lot. And then you have Muna on the other side who's saying, it has to be Marcelo because I can't work with Jacob. And like, she was saying that Marcelo wanted to work with her to the end and that he might even take her to the end, which was not a read that I had from previous episodes. But, from Marcelo's exit interview, it does sound like he wanted to work with Muna and Billy. So that would have been really interesting to see if Marcelo would have sided with her if he had come back.
Right.
Because that would have been a surprise to me. Yeah. And then you have Spencer saying, I thought this was very ironic. He said, man, Jacob's such an enigma. He is getting in lots of fights and everyone's calling him a huge threat, but I don't know why. And I'm like, Spencer, this is literally you getting in fights, winning battle matches. Like, I'm the same way. I don't know if Jacob and Spencer are huge threats because I don't know, will people respect they've won a lot of battle matches, or will people see that as poor social gameplay? Where do you fall on that, Kim? Do you think it's impressive to win a lot of battle matches, or are you more impressed with somebody like Billy who doesn't get chosen at all?
I don't think it's impressive to be in a lot of battle matches, but I think it's impressive to win them. So, especially in this season where the person's voted out, nobody has left the game when they were voted out. So, and I don't think it has to do with who they picked necessarily, but more so with maybe their mindset going in. Yeah. Possibly, I don't know. Maybe they realize. I don't know if they realized it at that point or not. And I'm not. Yeah, I know how I am as a juror, and comps play into it. So winning your way back in, whether you were voted out or not, is a big thing. It's part of the game. It's going to happen. If you don't want somebody to battle, don't vote them out. Vote out somebody else, that's not going to drag you. But I'm more strategic. So I like to see the strategy of it. And I feel like, God, Jacob's played one hell of a strategic game. I think that he's been on point with some of his reads and calls. And so Billy's been up and down for me. You know, I love her. She, like I said, she was my preseason pick, but I don't know necessarily if she's going to be able to win in a final two. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I know.
You brought up strategy, so I was going to actually bring up this question from Kirk, who says, what is your advice for someone who is used to playing Survivor or the Big Brother strategy, I guess, who wants to play Sequester? What is can you think of a big difference in that you brought up, avoiding the drag, that's a huge difference. I almost had a breakdown on the recap a couple episodes ago. I was like, it's all about the drag. Why is it all about the drag?
It is. It's all about the drag.
You know what? Brendan's episode. I was like, why is Brendan just worried about getting dragged? So
yeah.
What do you think?
You know what? There's a huge strategic difference between Big Brother and Survivor and Sequester, because Big Brother, you've got a week from 6 days from the time you're nominated to be able to play for the POV, possibly use the POV or not, and prep yourself for that night that the vote is, right? So you can build something there. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen it in like 6 seasons where anybody's been able to flip that vote because they're so entrenched in each other's personal business that they just haven't played strategically really for a few years. Mm-hmm. For Survivor, you want your alliance, you want that person that's got your back, because you need that person to help draw votes off of you or onto somebody else, mm-hmm. right? So I would say maybe the strategy of Sequester is closer to Survivor because of that. But the difference is Survivor, you know what it's going to be every week. Every week, you're going to have a challenge. Somebody or a tribe is going to be safe. You're going to go to tribal. You're going to vote somebody out. That's the way it is every week.
Yeah.
Sequester is, oh my God, oh shit, what's going on this week? You have to be more fluid. You can be more rigid and go in with a strategy in Survivor mm-hmm. or Big Brother. Mm-hmm. I think it's difficult to go in with a strategy in Sequester.
Yeah.
You have to be fluid. You have to be ready to roll with it. And if you've got your heels dug in too hard, you're going to be out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Love it. You summed it up perfectly.
Yeah. It's really hard to get the person that you want to get to the end with you to the end. Like, it's hard to have a final 2 deal and actually be able to follow through with it, because you never know, that person may never get voted out, but they very likely one of the 2 of you is going to get dragged at one point.
Exactly. So you have 2 chances every round to lose your ride or die, right. Either on the vote or on the drag, right?
Yep.
So that's why you just cannot dig your heels in that hard in Sequester. And if you're not ready to be mobile and roll with it, you will be out early.
You know what I just realized? Jacob Jones, his 2 closest people, Marcelo Muna, out back to back. Both in both instances, huge relationship breakage.
Yeah, but he picked both of them.
Yeah.
And in his hand, he picked his 2 closest to drag into a battle.
He said that Marcelo was his untouchable, the Big Brother term that they use in All Stars. Mm-hmm. And he dragged him.
Yep.
I'm just realizing that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally, I did not love the move of him to drag Marcelo, but I think that I really, as a juror, I really appreciate cutthroat gameplay. So even though I don't even know if it's great that he dragged Marcelo, I love that Jacob picked him and beat him. I'm like, oh man, he really doesn't care about the relationships in the game. He's doing whatever it takes to win. So I do appreciate that about Jacob.
The bad part about that though was Jacob was Marcelo would have had him.
Right.
Would have had his back.
I know, I think so too.
Why are you voting out somebody who has got has got your back?
Somebody who put sand in your tube.
He would have put sand in his tube.
I think Audrey was feeding him tequila during the day or something. Because some of these choices had me just scratching my head going, No.
So I have a question for you guys. Now that we're speaking of jury and we're talking about all this stuff. Okay, so here's like an overall idea about Muna. So Muna is, as we keep on hearing and as we probably believe, Muna is the biggest jury threat, right? We are getting fed that she will win the game if she makes it there. Is there a way that anybody could beat Muna in the end if they are like dictating all the votes going forward, or does the jury just love her so much and she's Muna and she is a spoken word poet? Like, is there any way? Do you have to get out Muna?
You have to.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think they would have been absolute fools to leave Muna in, not just because, I mean, there's a lot of layers of it. She was in the jury with part of them, not all of them, but with part of them. So she already built that relationship. Mm-hmm. She got the LOS from Jay West, comes back into the game where there's already relationships she has built. Mm-hmm. And any of those people, remember, there's only 2 in the finale. Mm-hmm. So any of those people go to jury, that's more votes that are on her side. Mm-hmm. So I think that those relationships would have been jury votes. I think that the way she talks and the way she speaks and articulates what she's trying to do would have been jury votes.
Yep.
I think that
her story.
Huh?
Her story of, her whole
story.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole story and reasoning for wanting to be there is going to get sympathy. Not really sympathy. I shouldn't say it that way. It's going to get her empathy and sympathy, depending on who it is in the jury, mm-hmm. Or understanding.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
People are going to be invested in what she's saying, I guess.
Exactly. And it's true. I mean, you do not see Muna in Survivor or in Big Brother or in The Challenge or in any of the Real Housewives or any reality show. You do not see Muna. So and honestly, she was a phenomenal representation mm-hmm. of what she went in there to do. Mm-hmm. And I've got to give her huge props for that.
Yeah.
And then the whole other thing is, it would depend on who she's against and what they're looking at to pick the winner, because Muna is an amazing player. Absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. I saw it in the mix. I know she knows how to be a strategist. I think Muna had a lot of errors in the live game. And if she was up against the person who points out those errors, there could be a possibility. But overall, they did the right thing. Yeah. You had to get rid of Muna there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that both Josh and Billy had a chance to beat her. Spoiler, those are like the top 2 who I think have the best chance to win, who I think are the biggest threats at the very least. I think Josh is just very strategically aware. Like, I think he talks about the game in a very strategic way. So it depends on, I think that Muna maybe had the much better story, but I think that Josh would be able to sway some votes his way. And I also think that Billy, man, if she doesn't get dragged into a battle match next week, to have that perfect record, that's insane. Like, regardless of what she says, like that's insane if you can get to the end avoiding the battle matches all the way through. So many people trust her and thought that they were her number 1. So I think that there was a chance somebody could have beaten her, but I definitely wouldn't want to take the risk of keeping her in the game.
Right.
No, not at all. Not at all. I kind of predicted that Muna would go out at either 6 or 5, mm-hmm. depending on who else was in the mix, just because. But, okay, are we going to talk about the episode itself?
Oh, I know. We probably should, shouldn't we?
Yeah. We're 34 minutes into this. Let's talk about the episode.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. I'll let you guys take the lead on it, but okay. I've got words to say.
Well, I was going to say, I really liked this challenge, this twist. I love challenges that include social dynamics. You know, we all love touchy subjects on Survivor. We haven't seen that in a while, but that's one of my favorite challenges to watch. One thing that I thought was crazy that just week after week, I'm amazed by Billy's social game. the first time that Sequester showed the numbers of where people were, Billy was over 60%. No one else was over 20% when Billy was at 60. That's mind-blowing at how good her social game is.
Social.
Absolutely, but not really. Okay. You know that Muna and Billy are tight, right? I mean, they've shown it. They have not hidden that at all. What's the best way to get Muna to be able to be voted out? By getting Billy's filled up and get her out of the game so she can't fill anybody else up.
Well, I think that once you were filled up, I think you could still fill other people's up. Right?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, oops.
Well, she just got safe, so I don't know. They kind of did it back to back, but that was one of the.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No. Once your tube was filled, you were safe, and you had to step away. You don't get to fill anybody else's. So strategically, if I want Billy in but Muna out, I've got to make sure that Muna has to be able to be voted out, right?
True.
So what's the best thing to do? Fill up Billy's and get her out of the game before she can fill up Muna's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what bothered me about Billy doing a little bit in each tube. I don't know why that bothered me so much.
Yeah, she wants to be seen putting sand in multiple people's tubes every time. So it's like, oh, hey, I just put sand in yours. So like, she has that where it's not just going all in on somebody. Because when people look at her, she wants people to see them, putting it in their tube.
Which they did, and they filled her tube. But I don't think she was thinking in terms of, crap, I can't fill up Muna's if I'm out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened.
Another challenge with kitty litter. We had another kitty litter appearance. So that was great to see.
Yeah, you had to run to the litter box and fill up your cup.
And I'm sure that like every single recap about Sequester is going to mention this, but Josh doing the half in the tube, half out of the tube, genius. Loved it.
Yeah, that was great.
Loved it. Amazing.
Absolutely. It's very easy to, and again, but it's something you need to think of. He thought of it. The other ones didn't.
Yeah. And the fact that he's like one for one, but it's like half for one, half for one.
Exactly.
I thought what Natalie was saying was interesting too. It didn't end up working out for her at all, but she wanted Spencer and Josh to be vulnerable also because she felt like she had the best chance of staying against them, which was interesting because it seemed like everybody, once the round started, was very on board to target Muna. But I guess Natalie did not know that at the time. And ultimately, Spencer and Josh were both safe. So that did not work out the way she wanted it to, but didn't end up mattering.
I mean, it could have been a lot worse. But, she's got a lot of self-awareness. Now, she realizes that at this point in the game, they're looking at her as a goat. They're going to take her kicking and screaming right to the finale to get the win. But keeping in mind, they didn't hear, remember when they presented to the jury a couple weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They did not hear how persuasively Natalie provided information to the jury. Okay. And I think had it not been Muna going, keep Billy safe, and that's another reason to get rid of Muna and to get rid of Billy. Well, I'll get to that one in a minute. But to get rid of Muna is because she persuaded the jury. But I honestly think that Natalie had the best argument to the jury. That if everything were on a flat playing field, I think Natalie or Josh would have walked away with the safety.
Yeah. I think those were also the best two talkers. I agree with that. And I also think there is a possibility of, I'll just call it the Jess Yeager effect, of somebody who's playing a very quiet game. I think it's going to be more noticed this time around because, Jess, a lot of people feel like she was robbed or that, her game wasn't appreciated enough. So I do think somebody like Natalie, who played an under the radar game, has a decent chance to win now. But I do think it's hard because this jury is full of such big personalities. And I don't know if she matches that energy, but I think if she articulates herself well in the end, she's got a fighting chance.
I think she does too. And I think there's going to be people on the jury. It's going to depend on who she's up against,
right?
Honestly. Yeah. But I think she's got a better chance than what people are giving her credit for. And I think that Josh, I think that Josh is blind to a lot of her moves.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm willing to play. I mean, she was the only one he told that he had an LOS and had it since week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And if it ends up being you, I'm willing to play my LOS on you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So because he wants her at the end so bad, he made that clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's his best choice. Personally, if I were Josh, I'd be looking at taking Jacob, but
Yeah,
interesting.
I was actually thinking about Josh and his LOS, and I kind of have that survivor mindset of when you have an idol, you want to build your resume by doing something with it. You want to play it and show the jury. But so I thought he was going to find a way to play it.
I did too.
But,
I thought either at 7 or 6.
Yes, but he doesn't. And I am okay with that, because if building his resume right now might result in him getting out sooner, pretty soon thereafter, people are going to think he's a jury threat because of the LOS play. And it kind of is a resume builder to have that at the end and be like, look what I had since week 1 that I never used.
Yeah.
I like the showiness of playing it, though. I had actually before, so right when we find out who's safe and who's up for elimination,
Right.
I wrote a little note. I was like, okay, my predictions about what's going to happen. And for some reason, I thought that Josh was going to play an LOS to make Natalie go home. But I was like completely wrong, that he was willing to play it. Then later he says he's willing to play it for her. But I had this idea that he would have wanted her out.
Yeah, no, he very well could have. I've never seen anybody more casual, though, in the final 6 than Josh, sprawled out across the counter.
Yeah.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, tell me what's going on here. He's
That's Hannah eating popcorn.
Yeah, you got to eat that popcorn.
He was Hannah eating popcorn.
Just chilling. Laundry sink. Yeah, that's the place to be.
He knew he was safe anyway. There's no vote on him, so he didn't have any reason to stress other than wanting to keep certain players in, possibly, that are going to be better for him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And with Natalie being one of those in his mind. So, and I think he was sincere. I think he honestly would have played it on her to save her,
Sure.
because he wants her at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, depending on how he spins things, that Josh could win against any of them.
I agree with you.
And I don't think Natalie's necessarily his best choice, because he doesn't know how well she can speak, and he doesn't know how aware she is of what's going on.
She's already planted some seeds. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the popcorn move that I did, we see Muna this round make a bluff that she has 2 powers, right? Wouldn't the ultimate bluff be just sitting in the living room, not talking to anybody? Just like, no, I'm good tonight. You guys vote out whoever you want. I'm safe. I'm good.
I'm good. No problem. Yeah, I don't, and that's part of where I was saying that I felt like Muna was overplaying her cards a little bit, is because there were 2 things. Okay. Number 1, I think probably the worst play I've seen from Muna in this game was drawing votes on herself. Because if she and Billy had voted for Jacob would have been voted out anyway without an idol play, and she could have saved herself. Granted, hindsight's 20/20, and I know firsthand when you're in there, the level of paranoia that comes on makes it hard to trust people. But it was a 3-2-1 vote. It would have been a 4-2 vote, and she would have been safe. She would have been able to save herself in the battle, which would have been really fun, because then he would have had to pick Natalie. Would we have seen the idol played on Natalie to save her,
Mm-hmm.
in which case I don't know what the rule would have been.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have gone to a wheel. Those people that were safe could suddenly not be safe if they can't, maybe the rule is there's a revote because it's a deadlock. And if you guys tie, it goes to a wheel with everybody. I don't know.
Because because Jacob would have been voted out.
Yeah.
And so all he's looking for is he just needs someone to drag. And he's have these two people he doesn't have to drag. So my thoughts were either, I saw on Twitter, like auto elimination. Like, is it just he's gone?
It could have been him just gone, but I don't think they could have done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a world where those three people who are safe are now up for a drag. Oh, could you imagine?
And really, it would not have been a tie because there were three safe people voting on two not safe people that they could have deliberated. They could have done, like what happened in the second episode of my season, where 8 of us deliberated on who to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't come to a consensus, it was going to be one of us. And that wasn't happening in my world.
No.
I think that's something that they could have, I would love to hear what the rule was on that, because I know Audrey had a rule in place just in case, but I don't think she ever anticipated Josh having that LOS from the beginning all the way to the end.
I know. It's crazy that we only saw one LOS play like this entire season. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Just Nuna.
So, I think that was a mistake on her part. I think the other mistake was celebrating a correct LOS play. Mm-hmm. And maybe that kind of goes back to the humbleness of it. Mm-hmm. But she made it such a point throughout the show of, I want to play it successfully. I want to have the successful LOS play. The only way to do that is to get votes on you, right? But if you're telling people to vote you, is it really a successful LOS play, or is it? I think that's why that was a strategic mistake, because they had the votes to vote Jacob. She could have saved herself with her LOS. Mm-hmm. So I think the idea of wanting to play it successfully, emotionally overruled. Shit, we've got the votes.
Yeah, I think a couple other things came into play too. I think she did not think there was any chance she had the votes regardless. Billy was coming to her saying, hey, people are going on you. I don't think that she was thinking that anybody was going to split their votes. But what I think that her and Billy could have done is basically go to either Natalie or Jacob and like kind of threaten them and say like, I'm going to not use my LOS. And I'm going to get voted out, and I'm going to drag you unless like you vote with me. And then at the very least, it could have been a 3-3, and who knows what happens after that. But
worst case, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's going to be a 3-3. But if other people split, then they are going to have a majority on somebody else. If they go to Natalie and say, let's vote Jacob. But I also think there's just an element of Muna like not wanting other people to have her fate in their hands of like, oh, I'm not going to get voted out by you guys. I'm going to tell you to vote for me. And then I'm going to play the LOS. Like it was almost like she was controlling the narrative of the round for herself.
Right.
But ultimately I think it's better to get voted out. And then she could have just, picked who she battled even. That's worst case scenario for Muna. You get voted out, but then you can choose between Natalie and Jacob instead of how it happened where the rest of the house decided that it was going to be Jacob basically that she was battling.
Yeah. But then it might have been 2 Minnesotans.
No.
Oh man, she would never betray Minnesota.
She would never do that. She wouldn't drag Natalie. She's from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you know what I'm gonna do if I ever play like Sequester, if I ever play like another live game? They're gonna be like, where are you from? I'm gonna say like, where are you from? Like I'll pick out someone I really want to work with. They're gonna say California, and we'll be like, oh my gosh, me too. I'm from Ohio.
Oh, where at?
North. What about you?
North California.
From North California. So that never ends for me. I just love it so much. Did you guys catch Brendan whispering to Marcelo in the jury?
Oh yeah.
It was so weird. Like, was it because of the masks? It was all clunky. He was like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very awkward.
Yeah, the masks. I like the mask element because you can't read their facial expressions.
No, I know that's great.
I'm not a fan of them being able to cheer on. Now, personally, if I were Audrey, this is my 2 cents for season 5. You put a camera in there, like a Nest or a Ring camera.
Oh, like a GoPro?
You could potentially put a GoPro that's Bluetoothed to a laptop and have the jury in a separate room.
Okay.
So now the jury can talk amongst themselves while they're watching, but the live players cannot see the reactions or hear the reactions or anything like that, see the whispers and stuff. So throw a Ring bell in there, right? Just throw it on a laptop.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
My idea.
I know. I mean, it's information, good or bad. It's when you see their body language, you see what's going on. Anything else about the twist before we talk about the battle match? I kind of have a surprise for you guys when it comes to the battle match, but I wanted to see if you had any other thoughts about the twist. Well, go for it.
Oh, I mean, I was
going to say, I think I said everything.
Okay.
Go for it, Luke.
I mean, I was going to say a little bit. I mean, look, we all love Muna, but I did want to touch on a couple of strategic things I noticed in the round. She kind of developed her like battle pass bluff strategy about halfway through the round. Yeah. Because her first conversation with Jacob, she was saying, I've also been looking for LOSs. Oh, and Jacob, I respect the game, so I'm not going to pick you if I'm voted out. I'm not going to drag you. So at that time, she was playing as if anything mattered. Whereas like once she gets the battle pass, if she has an LOS and a battle pass, at that point, there's really no strategy to be done because then it would automatically be Natalie and Jacob. So the way that she changed course halfway through, I think was a big mistake too. You needed to stick with one narrative through the round.
I agree 100%. I mean, it's like driving. If you're going to commit to making that turn, you need to make that turn. You don't go straight.
Spencer felt
you better look right before you drive.
Yeah. Spencer was like, oh my gosh, good bluff, Muna.
You got to look right, and then you got to look left, and then you pick your lane. And so I agree with you on that. Absolutely. I think she started that strategy too late in the round to pull it off. And again, I mean, what would have been really funny, and I'm actually really surprised, I was waiting for Jacob to go, how could you have gotten it, Muna? I did.
Call out bluff. Bluff on bluff.
I would have totally called it because he was in there first, right?
Yeah.
And she did not come up with it at the beginning. If I were Jacob, 100%, I would have stood there and looked at everybody in the room and go, there's no way she got that. Don't let her scare you into, making this ploy because remember, I went to luxury row ahead of her. I already have it. And I had it the first time. You saw what I did with it. I will play it the second time.
Like I said earlier, if you have both the LOS and the battle power thing, you just got to chill. You just got to sit and chill. Like there's no reason to scramble.
Well, in this round, when there's only 3 options, there's really absolutely no strategy. If Muna has both, there's nothing to be done because it's Natalie and it's Jacob. End of story.
She should have gotten a blanket and curled up in a recliner or something. Yeah. She was good, but she wasn't. That's why she was scrambling.
Still got Spencer.
And that's why I would have totally, Jacob with as villainous as he's playing, that would have been the perfect play for him. It's like, she couldn't have it. I was there ahead of her and I already got it. Vote her anyway.
Oh, man. I was also really impressed with Josh towards the end of the round. And one reason I think that Josh is a huge threat to win at the end is it really felt like he was dictating where everybody was voting. At the end of the round, he's standing there with Spencer, Natalie, and he's basically saying, okay, Spencer, you're voting for Muna. Natalie, me and you are voting for Jacob. And, we're hoping that Billy and Jacob are also voting for Muna. Like, he was really the one who was trying to figure out where all the numbers are going to lie, who needed to put a vote on who. And, you see Spencer like, okay, wait, who am I voting for again? Like, they were asking Josh who to vote for. So just kudos to Josh on really kind of being the one hurting people with the votes.
And And I think that's what could actually come back to bite Billy in the end. Billy hasn't really initiated anything.
Yeah.
But she's been super loyal and super strong player, and the killer round was amazing.
Yeah.
Kim, you did not just say that Billy's been loyal. Did you just say that?
Loyalty will not win you the game.
Well, I know, but
If you
who's
got
she?
nothing.
I don't think that I have never said that Billy's played a loyal game. Sure, maybe she's been loyal to Muna, but like she swears loyalty to everybody, but there's no exclusivity with it. She just says the word loyalty all the time to different people, but it doesn't actually mean anything, right?
Except Natalie. I've never voted you because I've been loyal to you. I've never voted you because I've been loyal to you. I've never voted you because I've been loyal to you. And Natalie, yeah, I was never loyal to you.
But I am now.
Final five. Oh my God.
But then she says, oh, but I was loyal to you after I voted for you. Like ever since then, we've been loyal, right? So she says it to everybody.
I love Billy. I am a Billy stan. I have not said that enough on this podcast, but I don't know, something about her. I love her.
Yeah.
She's got such good energy. Like I would love to just hang out with Billy. She's freaking amazing.
I want to see her in the end, but also if she makes it to final two, I don't want her to like break. Like she is going so hard right now, and she is like you said, her emotions are all in it, which is okay because she is passionate about winning. I just hope it doesn't like break in final two. You know, I hope that she can bring it home and do well.
I think Girl's going to have tears if she's in final two. I think she's going to bring on a lot of works.
Yeah, she's going to do some jump ropes beforehand. Like, I got it. Okay.
She can pump herself up with the jump rope out there.
So the battle match we saw, I called it the battle of the century because we saw Jacob versus Muna. Let's go. I really liked this battle match I love a word scramble. And so for tonight, I prepared a battle match for Luke versus Kim.
Oh, no.
If you guys would like to participate.
Well, now that I found out that Kim is like, a battle match champion from the original Sequester, like I don't even know if I should do it, but I don't stand a chance, Kim.
So if you are watching, you could play at home too, though. What do you think, Kim? Would you like to play?
I'll do it. I'm not real good at word scrambles. If it were a slider puzzle, burying you, but I'm not great at word puzzles.
Okay, so I am going to put a word scramble on the screen.
Okay.
And I'll have all the letters scrambled up on the screen, and I do have blank spots at the end. At the bottom, and not that you need to know because you'll see all the letters. But if this takes a bit, maybe I'll give you some clues. And what I want you to do is you can either say the word out loud when you find it. Just maybe turn off don't look at the YouTube chat to the side so people could play at home and they can type in the chat. I will give props to whoever finds it out in the chat, but I will put it on the screen. I will put it on the screen, and first one to do it gets back in the game.
Okay, we're saying it out loud, right?
Might as well just say it out loud.
Okay.
Is it more than one word?
It's one word, 10 letters.
Oh, my gosh.
All right.
Okay. Manifesting a win.
Manifesting a win. Ready, set, go. So for the audio, they're both staring intently at the letters. They're looking. There are 10 letters. There's a couple O's. There's a C. There's an A. There's a couple N's. Someone in the chat has figured it out, but no one else can look at the chat right now to see.
Oh, no.
Hold on. T-I-M.
For the record, Josh Abbott would have beat you guys in this word scramble.
Well, of course he would.
C. Okay, so I've got the T-I-O-N. I know that's got to be. Oh, I know what it is. Do I just say it? What do I do?
Say it.
Coronation?
Coronation.
Oh, no.
You're not here for anyone's coronation.
I'm not here for anybody's coronation.
Here we go. These are the clues you would have gotten. Coronation it is. And congrats to him. Unfortunately, Josh would have beat you in this one, though. So
Probably. I'm like, okay, it's got to be something with the TION, and I'm going, what C words can I think of? That end in TION. I can think of a lot of C words, but
thank you for indulging me in that battle match.
so I would have got my ass kicked by Josh,
Mhm.
but between me and Luke, I got
Anyways, like, did you guys like that battle match? Sorry, Josh had put a word scramble in the chat. He said unscrambled this, and I was like kind of looking at it, and it was undrafted.
Kim, I know you know what we're talking about because you were in the chat for our preseason draft that we did. Josh was the only person undrafted, and you commented, "Josh is a dark horse to win this thing. Don't count him out." And here he is, and he's at the top of my list for winner picks now at the final six. So
we're not here for anybody's coronation, okay? We're not here for coronation.
But you know what's really funny is my preseason draft, my two picks were Billy and Josh.
Wow. That's what I'm rooting for right now. You know, I love the under the radar Natalie vibe going on. But yeah, Billy and Josh are where it's at right now for me.
In our draft with Pat and Hannah, I've lost all four of my people. I had Katie, Shireen, Rachel, and Marcelo. So I'm officially out of it. But I mean, I'm over the draft now because I'm rooting for Josh, Mr. Undrafted. So
any other predictions about who's going to win, what we're going to see coming up? We've kind of gone through a lot of our thoughts so far, but you know, any other thoughts about the winner picks, what we're going to see happen? Who are we going to see dragged at 4? Who are we going to see voted out at 4? Do you think that they're planning on Spencer being the drag at 4? That's what I think is going to happen. That I don't think anybody will be upset. You know, you don't want to, I don't know. I could see someone dragging Spencer at 4.
I could see Spencer getting drug at 4, but knowing that, does that mean they're going to vote one of the other 3? Who do you think is going to go out at 5? That's what I'm wondering.
I think Billy's going out at 5.
I think that'd be the smart move. I don't want to see it happen, but I think it'd be the smart move.
Or
because you got Josh, Jacob, either Jacob or Billy goes out at 5. I think it might be Billy and they're going to get rid of Jacob at final 4.
We've been led to believe that Jacob, we've been told the final 4 in the episodes so far that would leave Jacob on the outs, but yeah, go ahead, Luke.
Here's my theory, because I'm personally trying to figure out what Josh is thinking. So I'm trying to put myself in Josh's shoes and figure everything out from there. So I think that there's a chance that he wants Billy in 4 to be the big threat to be voted out, because he knows that she won't drag him, because him and Billy have had this connection since the beginning. I feel like they have this energy where they're both super intense. They just vibe. And so I think that Josh wants to save her for 4 to have somebody to be voted out that won't drag him. So I could see him wanting to get out Jacob at 5, Billy at 4, and then, you know, Billy drags either Spencer or Natalie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I think he could win against either one of those.
That's a really good path, right? What do you think, Kim?
I don't think so. I think that Billy will go right now at 5 if they're smart, but keeping in mind there's safety at 5. Okay, there has been every season. It may be different this season, but there's safety at 5. We had 2 weeks in a row where 1 out of 3 gets voted out, right?
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, what happened last week? Oh, gosh. Marcelo or Jacob was last week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Follow. Repeat what you said, Kim. I'm not following.
There's going to be safety at 5 somehow.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Some twist, excuse me, is going to give safety at 5.
Right.
What if the person who's safe at 5 is the solo vote to vote somebody out?
Oh my gosh.
Or what if I'm trying to channel my inner Audrey on some of the shit I've seen her pull in different games.
Oh, we have totally seen like only when we're down to the end, we've only seen like 2 people up for elimination.
Exactly. So, or what if it's something where 3 people are safe? And you've got those 3 people have to vote from the last. You know, so there's a lot of different ways it could happen, but all 3 seasons live, there's always been somebody safe at 5, because I was safe at 5. Mm-hmm. I won the memory challenge on that one. So I think there's a better chance of Billy possibly being safe. Actually, to be honest with you, I think Natalie's going to be safe at 5. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think Natalie will be safe. Or I think Josh will be safe.
Mr. Word Scramble.
It's going to be a word scramble and he's going to be safe. I don't know. I just feel like Natalie is self-aware enough to go, I'm the GOAT. This I have to win. So I could totally see her doing that.
Yeah.
Josh is so smart that I can see him doing it. And Jacob is such a villain. I don't think he's got the self-awareness that if it's something like that or a memory or the game, I think that he's blown up enough and he's been left out of enough stuff that he might not know, maybe some of those nuances that are going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's gonna be wild. All I know is, you know what? From 6 on, I'm like, I don't care who wins. And it's been how many years in Survivor or in Big Brother, especially in Big Brother, where we go, we don't know who's going to win. Okay. Every year it's always been, we know who's going to win. Who cares? Mm-hmm. We don't know who's going to win. Mm-hmm. And we don't know how they're going to win. Mm-hmm. There's too much that can happen in these last 2 rounds.
I have kind of predicted a Billy winner's edit, but I didn't know if that was Sequester bot actually putting a winner's edit in there or kind of fooling us a little bit. But we get a lot of winners content from Billy. That's for sure. I'm not really super into Edgic or whatever, but we get a lot of emotional, like great stuff from her. Speaking of emotional stuff, I got to randomly bring up when they were like doing like the little montage of the final 6 at the beginning. Did you notice that they played the Spotlight music, but like slow-mo? I was dying. I was like, they are not playing slow-mo Spotlight. I love it so much.
Well, and they played the mini theme music too when Jacob, I think, was Bets Pick Muna.
Everybody got like immediate like nerves when that played.
I know, right? I was like, wait, what is this feeling right now? And then I was like, oh, it's
we all got PTSD. And anybody who's played a mini got PTSD as soon as they heard.
Oh gosh, it was awful.
It was really bad. But you know what? Mad props to Aaron and to Will for the music that they provided, not only in the minis, but dang, they have pulled out some music for the live game, and
amazing.
Love it.
Mm-hmm, amazing, love it.
We didn't have to hear the soundtrack from Mean Girls in the background, which was my season. They played Mean Girls a lot.
I need to go back and rewatch that now. I need to be able to catch all this stuff. Any other thoughts about this episode? It was such a short episode. I was like, I don't know if we're going to make it to an hour. Look at us, an hour and 8 minutes in. I was like, classic. I know. Tim's like, I got to get back to work.
Tim's like, I can go another hour.
You know what? I think that she did a great job, that she and TR and I just went blank.
Jordan?
Jordan, thank you.
Yes.
I went blank on the name for a second there. I think they did an amazing job editing, because this was not one. It would have been nice to see a little bit more content about their thoughts on each other. Mm-hmm. More confessionals. We didn't see a lot of confessionals in this one, but this one was short when it was good being short. whereas like date night was long, and it needed to be long because
Mm-hmm.
of everything that was going on
Right.
that brutal killing of date night. So, I think Jordan and TR and Audrey have done an amazing job.
Yes.
Drew Hilliard, my nemesis for years now, he's a rock in that foundation for sure. And Jason Mallory were fantastic. Sequester Bot Jr. and Sequester Bot. The challenges this year, I think, were great with what Jake Round and Paige put together for the challenges. I think they were they looked more professional than in past seasons. You don't have a half cut to blow a ping pong ball into on a tilted slanted board. And I think there's been some great comments for them moving forward to take it to another level. And then Josh Smith was, I think they've got him listed as field supervisor. I have the feeling that Josh was the one who was making sure that they had their handlers and everything.
Yeah.
So nobody was cheating and coordinating all that stuff. And
which
Josh
is a big job right there. Once you've been to a live game,
Yeah, Josh is a phenomenal guy. So, I just think the production crew this year was amazing and took it to another level. And I think we're going to see it taking a couple more steps up next year in season 5.
Audrey's been hinting on Twitter like 2021. It's like, Audrey, what are you saying? What's going on?
Yeah, she usually gives me a little bit of insight. I don't like spoilers for Sequester because I like watching the show. So I don't have any spoilers on it. But she always gives me hints that because she knows it makes me crazy in the head. So usually she's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe who I got. And I'll be like, who? I can't tell you. Bitch move, Audrey Middleton. Bitch move.
Now I can't sleep for 3 days. Thanks.
Exactly.
I feel like Brent said on Twitter at one point that he had a Big Brother alum reach out to him about interest in Sequester or something. He tweeted this out like a while ago, but yeah, I feel like there's going to be some interest, especially the season was so well done that I think there are going to be some Big Brother alum and Survivor alum that potentially will want to play. So
yes.
I've had at least, I would say, 8 to 10 Big Brother or Survivor alums that have reached out to me and said, so tell me, what's it really like being there? And I let them know. There's some of them I think would be great at Sequester. All of them have watched Sequester. So none of them would be going into it blind. They wouldn't be recruited.
We saw the Survivor games and the Big Brother games, how they come in with like some of them no knowledge and they pick it up so quick and do amazing. Because they're gamers, they know. Yeah.
They're gamers. They know that there's going to be a social element, there's going to be a strategic element, and there's going to be a voting element. And they take it from there. But there's definitely some interest out there. And who knows? I mean, we had 5 reality players on my season with Cindy, Jesse, Hamza, Krista, and Judd. So so we had 5 out of 20, so a quarter of them. I could very, very easily see half. I could see it being a fans versus favorites, maybe.
I do have mixed feelings. I don't want it to get to a point where like Survivor and Big Brother players like making alliances based on that. I think half and half is a little dangerous unless you're going to do like half Big Brother and Survivor players and the other half like Sequester alumni. I think that could be interesting.
Kim's like,
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Audrey wouldn't cast people who would go naturally to those alliances. I think she would cast people who would be really flexible.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a quarter of her cast was from reality shows. I think that's like a good like maximum amount. Like, I liked having, just Jareen in this season. I think it's fine to only have one former reality person.
I don't know. It's again, remember, Sequester's much more fluid than Survivor or Big Brother.
Mhm.
Audrey has the challenges, the twists, all that stuff is planned in advance. They just didn't come up with those tubes at the last minute
Right.
to make something like that, right? So if she did something like that, I can assure you the very first twist, probably about the first 3 twists, would prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Because there's no way she would allow that to happen.
Right.
Yep. True that.
Yeah.
True that.
And it didn't happen in my season. It would have been very easy to go, okay, me, Amanda, I'm trying to think here who all was in it that had played the online game. So it was me, Amanda, Hamza, had played online. Who else? But we had enough that we could have gone, okay, let's just stick together. We'll just cover each other, you know? But that didn't happen.
Right.
That did not happen at all. DJ, DJ, the very first boot, he came from online. He won. He's freaking brilliant. I would love to see him have a chance to play live, and not be the first boot.
Yeah.
So there were a bunch of us. I would say half the cast, we didn't play the same season. Cameron, Ashley, they were both from the .0s, the online. So we had it. We had enough that we could have run it. Judd played the online. So we could have run it as the online original OG onliners, but nobody even thought like that.
Yeah.
Nobody thought like that.
Well, and I mean, I think we expected in the preseason draft that, like, oh, well, Jacob's friends with Marcelo, Jacob's friends with Muna, and then he just battled them back to back in the season. So yeah, your expectations, don't always come true.
Yeah,
we have like Josh and Natalie up there with great chances to win, and they were 2 of the less connected people coming in.
Okay, so between Natalie, let's say it's between Natalie and Jacob, who wins?
That is. Speaking of Battle of the Century, that would be amazing to see.
I think it's a close call.
I think Natalie would win. I think that she has planted the seed with the jury with that moment she desperately needed with the jury to plant her seeds. She claimed that Muna move, even though Jacob publicly during the kind of claimed the Muna move, but she told everybody it was her move. Anyways, I think she would have people in the jury rooting for her. And my theory on juries is they have someone they want to vote for, and they will take any excuse to vote for the person they want. So they can, if they want Natalie to win, and if she does a fine enough job, they will vote for her.
I think what Kim brought up earlier on the podcast about humility, I think that could be Jacob's problem if he gets to the end. I think that he can be a little bit like condescending when he talks. He can kind of like angle his face like this and like do his hands like this. That would definitely not play well with the jury, but I think that he will. I feel like he's seen as a threat, right? Like he's won 3 battle matches. He's been playing from the front for a while, ever since him and Spencer were tethered. So his game is definitely more visible than Natalie's.
Okay. So, and my feeling is a juror wants someone representing their season that they can be proud of the vote. It doesn't mean they played the cleanest game, because let's face it, Jacob's played a really dirty game.
Oh yeah.
But he's played a very dirty strategic game. So, but will they feel good voting the win to him? I don't know. So, okay. So between Jacob and Natalie, you 2 are split. What about between Natalie and Josh?
Josh wins. Hands down.
I think he would be able to argue his jury questions better. But we've seen her be able to argue.
Exactly.
But so can he. He did really good in the jury questioning as well. And I feel like he has more concrete things to point to, stronger relationships. Like even with the sand competition today, Natalie had the least amount of sand at the end of the competition. I feel like that's indicative of not strong social bonds.
Right.
Possibly. Okay. What if it's between Jacob and Billy?
Billy.
Billy.
I think Billy beats anybody, personally.
I think Billy's a hands down against
Mhm.
Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
What about between Josh and Billy? That one is where I think it's a toss-up.
That's what I want to see. That would be such an epic final two because they would just be super passionate. But I do think that Billy would take it because I think the jury is going to come in wanting to vote for Billy. And like I said earlier, having potentially 0 battle matches on her record, having the killer reveal, I think those two things are just going to be like, okay, we're done here. It's Billy.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're probably right, Luke.
Yeah. She just has to bring it home with the jury questions. She can't crash and burn.
But if Billy does go into a battle match next episode and Josh doesn't, then they're both at like 1-1. Like Josh was in the very first battle match, Billy was in the very last battle match. Like they both played impeccable games from like different sides almost.
Oh my gosh.
That would be. I would love to see that final.
I
two,
hope we're talking about that next week.
I think they're both such big threats. I think personally Billy is, in my opinion, the person least likely to win the game now because I don't think there's any chance they let her get past the next 2 rounds.
Okay, now what about Spencer? Let's bring Spencer now into the equation. Spencer versus Natalie, Spencer versus Jacob, Spencer versus Josh, Spencer versus Billy.
This is from Ryan. He said Jacob's best chance is probably Spencer.
I think so too. I think you're 100% right.
Yeah, I think Spencer is probably the least big threat to win the game. I think that he probably loses to anybody in the final 2, but I think potentially could beat Jacob or Natalie, potentially, but I think it's really hard. And I don't think he's a good speaker. I was really not impressed with his jury pitch the week before. I thought it was terrible. I don't see him articulating himself well.
The jury doesn't like him.
Okay, but what if Muna is going back into jury and going, you know what? Spencer kind of had this revelation, and all of a sudden Spencer realizes what a jerk he was and was 100% sincere, and I was all on board to work with him.
That's the thing about, yeah.
I don't think it's going to win over Shireen.
Well, no, there are certain votes. He's not getting Shireen and Rachel's vote, period.
No.
But what I do think Spencer has is a compelling story because it's the story of I was on the outs. I was just constantly getting sent into battle matches. I won them. And then I had an epiphany where I was doing really good at the physical game. And then I started doing really good at the social game and wasn't never put into a battle match again. And it's a story. It's compelling, I think.
If we see Spencer win, and there will be a meme of "I'm not here for anyone's coronation" with him with a crown. Like, I cannot handle that right now. Get the Photoshop ready. Yes, we're only here for one person's coronation. There we go. Yep, elbow. There you go. So is next week the finale?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. All right. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait.
I'm guessing it's probably going to be about a 90-minute episode, only because they've got to have the final 5 challenge. They're going to have the drag there. Mm-hmm. Then they've got to have the final 4, which really doesn't take that long. Final 4 is intense because you literally have 5 minutes, and you've got to. We're
going to see every single second of that minute, aren't we? We're going to see every bit. Oh.
It will not surprise me at all if they've got a camera on each of the 4 and a camera on the 4, because I think that it's going to be intense. I think it's going to be intense.
Ooh,
no matter who's there.
Yeah, I hope Billy doesn't go at 5 because I really want to see Billy in a final 4 because that's going to be intense with especially Billy.
And my birthday is the next day, so I hope for an early birthday present I get a Billy win for my birthday. Okay, Sequester.
We'll get a bow. We'll have Billy put a bow around her neck and say, "This is for Hannah."
Hannah's birthday. Yeah, but any other thoughts before we wrap up? Do we need to drop any Instagram handles or Twitter handles? Why did I say Instagram? What Twitter? Like,
yeah, this is Sequester. We're Twitter only.
Twitter only.
It's right there. Mattina. It's not real creative, but it's effective. And I am on Instagram. Well, I have an Instagram. I just don't use Instagram. I don't remember. It's either at Kim Mattina or Kim in Phoenix, because that's pretty much it anywhere. That was also my MySpace. So.
I love it. Yeah, Kim has some great tweets, so everybody go follow her. It's amazing. My Twitter is Hannah Gilia on Twitter. What about you, Luke?
I'm leapyear_Luke, and I never tweet, so follow me.
Yeah, you've had some good ones lately. He'll get some good quality ones. It's not about the quantity; it's the quality.
Right. I posted to Natalie saying Muna's game is phenomenal. I posted that because I cracked me up the episode. I love a good
so great. Yes. Thank you, Kim, so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
this has been so great. I love hearing your thoughts. I saw Kirk earlier in the comments was like, "You don't need to recap the episode. Let's hear everything Kim has to say." So
we'll just open up a book and say, "Once upon a time."
Story time with Kim. But yeah, it's been a blast having you on. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And that's it for tonight. Anybody else got anything to say before we end our stream?
We'll see
just thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
And see you guys next week for the finale.